4:17 a.m. January 5th, 2026. Krychev 6 airbase, eastern Belarus. Russia's billion-dollar invincible Oreshnik battery, the hypersonic wonder weapon Putin bragged no one could touch, is now a 1,000-foot tower of flame lighting up the night sky. The secondary explosions are so massive they're tripping seismic sensors all the way in Poland. Ukraine didn't just stop one Mach 10 missile. They turned the entire stockpile into a giant, uncontrollable torch before Russia even knew what hit them. And the craziest part, all it took was 2 F-16s standing safely in their own backyard and 10 clever little drones. To understand how this catastrophic failure happened, we need to rewind to late December 2025. While the world was focused on holiday headlines, satellite intelligence was tracking a chilling movement at Krychev 6, a Soviet-era relic sitting just 250 miles north of the Ukrainian border. This wasn't just a routine deployment. This was Putin's ultimate strategic flex. He was positioning the first full operational battery of the Oreshnik system on foreign soil. Now, for those who haven't been following the Kremlin's press releases, the Oreshnik is supposed to be the endgame weapon. We're talking about a solid fuel monster with a re-entry speed of Mach 10 over 600 miles per hour. It carries multiple independently targetable re-entry vehicles, or MIRVs, meaning one missile can drop 6 separate warheads on 6 different cities simultaneously. Putin called it a wonder weapon that no Western defense could intercept once it reached the upper atmosphere. By moving 10 of these mobile launchers into Belarus, Moscow was effectively putting a knife to the throat of every European capital. And they didn't just leave them sitting in a field. Krychev 6 was transformed into a high-tech fortress. To protect these billion-dollar assets, Russia deployed a triple-threat defensive umbrella. First 3 battalions of the S-400 Triumph using gravestone radars designed to track hundreds of targets at once. Then they layered in Pantsir S-1 and Tor M2 systems for close-in protection, the kind of layered defense that on paper creates an impenetrable no-fly zone. To any traditional military planner, attacking this site would be an impossible mission. However, Ukraine's high command wasn't looking for a conventional dogfight. They knew that Russia had spent an entire year, billions of dollars, and thousands of man-hours to stockpile these 10 specific launchers. The Ukrainian plan was simple but incredibly gutsy. Don't strike when they arrive. Don't strike when they're moving. Wait until every single launcher is fueled, loaded, and parked in one place. To pull this off, they prepped a specialized strike package. 2 F-16 Block 70-72 Vipers, the most advanced variants in the sky, and 10 long-range one-way UAVs. But here is the catch that the Russian planners missed. The Ukrainians weren't going to fly into the teeth of the S-400. The chess match was set, 2 jets against an entire nuclear-capable battery. And as the sun began to set on January 4th, the first 10 Shadows were already rolling down a secret tarmac in Chernihiv. The hunt was on. 11 p.m., a secluded tarmac near Chernihiv. The silence of the Ukrainian night is broken by the low, rhythmic hum of 6 gasoline engines. These are the Lutai long-range drones, Ukraine's premier deep strike assets, essentially $15,000 digital ghosts with a 600-mile reach. As they lift off, they don't climb, they dive. The onboard flight computers execute a nap-of-the-earth flight profile, leveling off at a terrifyingly low altitude of just 140 feet. At this height, these drones are physically hiding behind the curvature of the planet and the Belarusian tree lines. They are flying underneath the 370-mile search radius of the Russian S-400 Big Bird radar. For the next 3 hours, they navigate via high-precision inertial sensors and anti-jamming GPS, correcting their course every millisecond with mathematical perfection. But 6 drones, no matter how stealthy, aren't enough to crack Krychev 6. They need a distraction. They need a big brother to kick the front door open. Enter F-16 number 1, call sign Wild Weasel. This Block 70-72 Viper is a flying electronic warfare suite. Under its wings, it's carrying 4 AGM-88 HARM missiles, but the real magic tricks are the 2 ADM-160 MAL-J Decoy jammers. Now, if you were the Russian commander of an S-400 battery, what would you be looking for? You're scanning the horizon for a massive high-altitude threat. And at exactly 3:45 a.m., the Wild Weasel gives them exactly what they fear. The F-16 pilot, loitering safely inside Ukrainian airspace, releases the 2 MAL-DJ decoys. These are programmable actors. Each one is a small flight vehicle that can replicate the exact radar signature of a massive B-52 bomber, or in this case, an entire squadron of F-15 Eagles. On the Russian gravestone radar screens at Khrushchev 6, the world suddenly goes crazy. They don't see two small decoys. They see a full American-style strike package coming in hot at 25,000 feet. The Russian base wakes up with a mechanical scream. The klaxon air raid sirens tear through the freezing darkness. The S-400 crews, fueled by adrenaline and a year of propaganda, react exactly how Ukraine wants them to. They lock on to the high-altitude Ghosts. Target lock launch. 6 S-400 missiles, each costing roughly $2 million, roar off their rails, chasing shadows in the upper atmosphere. Each launch is like a $2 million lottery ticket where the only prize is a puff of smoke. Ironically, the S-400 didn't even touch the 6 Lyuty drones. It was directed entirely at the Ghost Squadron, created by the 2 Umal DJ decoys. While the S-400 is busy executing these digital ghosts, the real threat is still 140 feet above the mud, slipping past the now occupied radar gates. But here is the twist that makes this mission a masterclass. Just as the Russian radar operators celebrate their kills on the high-altitude squadron, they realize their S-400 tubes are now empty and need a 45-minute reload. If you were the commander of this battery and you just realized you spent $12 million to shoot down 0 planes while your tubes are empty, what would your next move be? Would you stay and fight with short-range Pantsers, or would you start screaming for air cover? Type stay or run in the comments, because while the Russians were debating, the second act of this torch party was just getting started. Because the Wild Weasel wasn't alone. Hovering just behind it was F-16 No. 2, the Sniper. And it was carrying the heavy hitters that were about to turn Putin's hypersonic pride into a 1,000-foot barbecue grill. The 6 Lyuty drones of Wave 1 were now crossing the final dead zone, the 10-mile perimeter around Khrushchev 6. But here is where the Ukrainian chess move gets even more surgical. These 6 drones aren't trying to hide anymore. As they approach the inner ring, the flight computers trigger a pop-up maneuver climbing to 300 feet. Why? Because they want to be seen. They are acting as the ultimate clay pigeons to saturate the short-range defenses. Immediately, the Pantsir S-1 and Tor M2 systems, the bodyguards of the Oreshnik battery, screech into action. The sky above the airbase turns into a chaotic wall of lead and fire. Dual 30mm cannons are pumping out 4,000 rounds per minute, and Tor missiles are screaming off their rails to intercept these low-flying intruders. This is what military analysts call saturation. A Pantsir system can only track and engage a few targets at once before its computer processor reaches 100% capacity. By throwing 6 Lyuty drones into the mix simultaneously, Ukraine is forcing the Russian bodyguards to focus every sensor and every bullet on $15,000 gasoline-powered bait. And while the Russian gunners are frantically high-fiving over their drone kills, they are completely oblivious to the executioner loitering 60 miles away. Enter F-16 No. 2, call sign the Sniper. While the Wild Weasel was loud and distracting, the Sniper is a ghost. It stays low, stays quiet, and waits for the exact millisecond the Russian inner ring defense is fully occupied. The pilot flips the safety cover on the weapon release. Under the wing sits the AGM-158 JSM-ER, the Joint Air-to-Surface Standoff Missile. This isn't just a bomb, it's a $1.3 million stealth cruise missile with a 600-mile range. Think of the JSM-ER as the special ops version of a missile. Its body is made of advanced radar-absorbent composites shaped like a flat diamond to deflect radar waves away from the sender. It has the radar cross-section of a literal soda can, even though it's 14 feet long. The Sniper pilot picks the release. 4 JSM-ERs drop from the pylons, their small wings snapping open with a distinctive thwack. They don't go high. They drop even lower than the drones, hugging the terrain at just 50 feet, guided by an internal digital map and a global-grade inertial navigation system. Inside the JSM-ER's nose is an imaging infrared seeker. It has a digital photo of the Oreshnik bunker preloaded into its brain. Even if the Russians turned on every jammer in the Kremlin, this missile wouldn't care. At 600 miles per hour, the 4 JSSMs are ghosting past the distracted Pantsir crews. The Russians are busy reloading their guns after shooting down the Wave 1 drones, laughing about their victory. They have no idea that 4 ghosts carrying 1,000-pound armor-piercing penetrator warheads are just 90 seconds away from the front door. But wait, there's one more layer to this triple-threat failure. The Oreshnik launchers are mobile, right? They could just drive away. But here is the masterstroke detail. Ukraine's Wave 2, the final 4 kill drones, were timed to arrive at the exact moment the hangar doors would open to let the trucks escape. Now imagine you're the Oreshnik battery commander. Your S-400s are empty, your Pantsirs are reloading, and suddenly your invincible missiles are trapped inside a bunker that's about to be hit by 4,000 pounds of specialized high explosives. Would you stay inside and hope the concrete holds, or would you run and pray the shrapnel misses you? Stay tuned, because the physics of destruction in the next 30 seconds is about to change the map of Belarus forever. 4:16 a.m., the final 90 seconds of Oreshnik's existence. Inside the reinforced bunkers at Krychev 6, the air is thick with the smell of ozone and diesel. Russian technicians are frantically trying to disconnect fueling hoses, their boots slipping on the cold concrete. The order had come down 3 minutes ago: evacuate the launchers. The sky is compromised. But a mobile Oreshnik launcher isn't a sports car, it's a 50-ton beast that requires precision and time. 2 things Ukraine just took off the table. Outside, the chaos is absolute. The Pantsir S-1 crews, having spent their last missiles on the Wave 1 decoys, are now desperately trying to reload. Their hands are shaking so violently that they can barely set the missile canisters. Some soldiers, realizing the radar is blinded by the Wild Weasel's jamming, have resorted to the ultimate gesture of futility. They are standing on the roofs of their vehicles, firing AK-74 rifles into the black sky, hoping a lucky bullet hits a $1 million ghost. It won't. 30 miles out, the 4 JASSM-ER missiles execute their final maneuver. Their imaging infrared seekers lock onto the thermal signature of the bunker's ventilation shafts. The onboard computers make a 0.5-degree course correction. This is the Patek Philippe level of precision surgical, cold and irreversible. The first JASSM-ER hits Bunker 1. It doesn't explode on impact. That would be too simple. It uses a specialized FMU-152 joint programmable fuse. This smart brain calculates the deceleration as the hardened nose cone punches through 20 feet of reinforced concrete and soil. It waits until it is precisely in the center of the hangar, right above the solid rocket motor of an Oreshnik, and then it triggers. The world at Krychev 6 simply ceases to make sense. The initial 1,000-pound blast is just the spark. The real horror begins when the Oreshnik's solid fuel ignites. Unlike liquid fuel, which you can sometimes suppress, Oreshnik's propellant is a high-energy mix of aluminum powder and ammonium perchlorate. It is essentially a 1,000-foot stick of dynamite that burns at 5,000 degrees Fahrenheit. Once it starts, physics dictates that it cannot be stopped. Within milliseconds, the bunker becomes a pressurized oven. The steel hangar doors, weighing several tons each, are blown off their hinges like sheets of paper flying 300 yards into the forest. A column of white-hot violet flame erupts through the roof, piercing the clouds. But Ukraine isn't finished. As 2 launchers desperately lumber out of Bunker 4, their tires smoking as they race for the tree-line Wave 2 arrives. The 4 kill drones, the Lutias, have been loitering in the thermal updrafts created by the fires. Through their low-light cameras, the Ukrainian operators in Chernihiv see the escaping trucks perfectly. Target acquired. Engaging. The first Luti dives. It doesn't hit the armored cab. It aims for the exposed missile canister on the back. The 75-pound shape-charged warhead contacts the thin skin of the Oreshnik. The resulting secondary explosion is so violent that it flips the 50-ton truck onto its side like a toy. The 2nd, 3rd, and 4th drones follow suit, hunting down the remaining support vehicles and fuel tankers. In the Ukrainian command center, the silence is heavy. There are no cheers yet, just the rhythmic click-click of technicians recording the seismic data. Impact confirmed. Target Krychev 6 is no longer a functional military asset. Structural compromise 100%. The Sniper and the Wild Weasel F-16s bank hard. Behind them, the horizon is glowing a deep, angry orange. They didn't just win a dogfight, they just performed a 16-minute lobotomy on Russia's strategic deterrent. Putin's wonder weapon didn't fail because it was intercepted at Mach 10. It failed because it was too arrogant to realize that in modern war, a $15,000 drone and a clever pilot don't care about your speed, they only care about your footprint. The Oreshnik battery is gone. But as the smoke clears, the true strategic nightmare for Moscow is just beginning to take shape. You don't just order another Oreshnik battery. These systems are the Ferraris of the missile world, hand-built, incredibly complex, and reliant on high-end components that are currently under global sanctions. By neutralizing all 10 launchers in a single morning, Ukraine didn't just win a battle. They effectively deleted an entire year of Russian strategic manufacturing. To put that in Wall Street terms, Moscow just saw a 100% loss on a multi-billion-dollar investment before the product even reached the market. For months, Putin used the Oreshnik as a geopolitical shadow puppet, scaring Europe with tales of Mach 10 uninterceptable destruction. However, Ukraine just proved a fundamental truth of modern warfare. A missile doesn't have to be intercepted at Mach 10 if you can turn it into a thermal event while it's still sitting in its garage. The Oreshnik is only a wonder weapon as long as it's a secret. Once it becomes a bonfire visible from space, it's just a costly liability. The invincible shield has been shattered, and the hypersonic threat has been neutralized by a handful of gasoline engines and some clever Western software. If you're a tech enthusiast, which part of this operation was the real MVP? Was it the F-16's Wild Weasel jamming that turned the S-400 into a $300 million paperweight? Or was it the JASSM ER's sniper precision that found the ventilation shaft of a hardened bunker-type jam or strike in the comments below? And if you support the smart guys in blue and yellow changing the rules of the game, smash that like button and subscribe. Because in this theater of war, the biggest weapon isn't a hypersonic missile, it's the intelligence to know exactly when to strike.